Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
ABC Wednesdays.
Y'all complain all day. We want books. We want paper towels in the classroom. Bet you want raises, too.
I'm still waiting on the paper towels.
Abbott Elementary returns with the new season.
We asked the district for more after-school programs. They gave us $50 for class pets instead.
Critics cheer. Abbott Elementary continues to be one of the funniest and most beloved shows on TV.
What y'all doing out there?
Taking bribes.
Proud of y'all.
Abbott Elementary, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Council won't even take my calls. Idiots. Anything useful in the books?
Not wildly. We still have the books of Furion to go through. I'm getting itchy feet, Giles. If we don't turn up something soon, I'm gonna hit the streets. Maybe check out Willie's.
Fine.
Where are you going?
Try and contact the spirit guides. They exist out of time, have knowledge of the future. I have no idea if they'll respond to my efforts, but I have to try. All we know is that the fate of the entire world rests on the... Did you eat all the jellies?
Did you want a jelly?
I always have a jelly. I'm always the one that says, let's have a jelly in the mix.
We're sorry. Buffy had 3.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, giving our review, our reactions. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I'm Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 13, titled The Zeppo, directed by James Whitmore Jr., written by Dan Weber. Original air date, January 26, 1999, to an audience of 5.93 million people. Big drop off from last week. Last week was 7 million people. But this is a big Xander-focused episode.
It's an interestingly Xander-focused episode.
Yeah. It's very... this one's really interesting. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed this episode quite a bit.
There was a moment watching this episode where I was like, is this a soap opera?
Yeah. There's so much going on in this episode too. Like there's a lot of moments that happen where you're like, whoa, that was that?
There's so much seemingly important stuff happening that is happening in the background.
Yeah.
To the point where now I don't know if I can take anything that ever happened seriously. And the character might have gotten written off. But first I wanted to give a shout out to some people that wrote in on the Apple Podcast, gave us some reviews. Give a shout out to BOF Statistician, BOF Statistician, and Megan, who left us very kind reviews on Apple Podcasts, and we appreciate that. We just want to give you a shout out.
Thank you so much. And yeah, if you leave reviews on Apple Podcasts, we will do this all the time. So get to type in, listeners, please. Joe plugs really quick. I got a show at Comedy Chateau August 20th at 7:30, and a show at Flappers Comedy Club August 24th at 7:30 as well. If you want... just hit me up. I got discount ticket codes and all that shit. And we also, Vance and I, have quite an important announcement to kick off this show for everybody.
We're breaking up.
After 12 years of marriage. No. Quite the opposite, actually. We have been joined in holy... Patreon stuff.
I was wondering how you were going to pull that.
So after hearing quite a bit of feedback from people about wanting some extra stuff, wanting some things to do that's extra for the podcast, we have started a Patreon page. Right now it's very basic. We only have one tier, which is just like a general support, like $1 a month thing. But based on the feedback that we've been getting, we have plans to do some extra stuff. Maybe a little bit of video stuff, maybe a little bit of extra podcasts. We're still kind of talking out and figuring out stuff. So as that kind of stuff becomes available, we will let you know and put it up on that Patreon page. So big news, everybody. It's patreon.com/Boys Watching Buffy.
Yeah, we're just we're low tier right now. We just want to gauge how many people we have interest in it and see what we have, and then we can see what kind of bonus content we can put out for this. So yeah,
because like we said, we've been asking people, we've been looking for some feedback, like what kind of stuff you'd be interested in seeing and what you'd want to have on a Patreon if we do have that, or any kind of extra stuff. And based on that kind of feedback and some ideas that we already have, we're going to be doing some extra stuff hopefully soon. We'll see. Depends on how busy we are. I mean, I got all kinds of booty burlesque stuff going on. I got stand up, But so
and if you want to let us know what kind of content you're interested in, hop into our Discord.
Yeah, we have a little kind of running theme, I guess, question of like, what kind of stuff would you want to be seeing? So yeah,
and just talk about the episodes too. Come in, join the group.
Yeah, it's a fun time on Discord.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else that I'm forgetting here, Vance?
No, we got to talk about this episode.
All right. Well, let's get into the Zeppo. So we have to start the episode, we have like an incredibly 3-second recap of Giles getting fired as being the Watcher.
Dude, I wrote that down. It's like on the last episode of Buffy. Giles, you're fired.
And then into the new episode.
Yeah, it was like so much other stuff happened.
Yeah. Why don't you? But we get that. Giles, you're fired from being the Watcher, and him being like, and then into the episode, and it is the gang. And Faith is now back in the fold after being away for a couple episodes. They're all fighting these demons in a cave. Things looking squirrely. Buffy's fighting off a demon. Faith's fighting a demon. Giles is there fighting a demon. Willow's there casting a spell, and she's got a candle and she's reciting some kind of spell. And then she blows out the candle, and then all of this cloud stuff lifts, and then everybody's able to kill the demon. And it's pretty sweet. Everybody is like in on the action.
Yeah, it's like an RPG. Everyone has their little roles.
Yeah. It's like there's the spellcaster, the two slayers, and a random watcher.
Yeah. Faith just rams a giant sword into the chest of this giant demon. And
I thought that sword
pulls it out, and it's bloody.
I thought that sword was going to play into this. Like, that's maybe like a magical sword, but they don't make a mention of it after this at all.
No, it was a pretty gruesome way to start. And it doesn't seem like Giles is not doing his job.
Yeah,
he just mentioned.
They mentioned I know I'm not supposed to be doing it, and you have a new Watcher, which we don't see at all in this episode.
Yeah,
but he's fully involved in this fight at least, and he does mention that he's like pissed that some people took away his books.
To the point where I don't think we needed the recap. I think he says enough in this episode that you would get.
Yeah. So they're all looking around like, everybody okay? Everybody good? And everyone that you see is like, yeah, I'm feeling good. That felt pretty good about beating up those demons. And then everybody's like, wait a minute, where's Xander? And Xander is like underneath a pile of debris. He just pops his head out and he's like, I'm good. I'm here. I'm fine, everybody. Woo! What a fight. Huh? He like pops up, he rejoins the gang, and they're like, Xander, are you sure you're okay, man? You got the shit beat out of you, dude. And he's like, no, I'm fine. And then Buffy and Giles are basically like, Xander, maybe you should take it easy from now on. Maybe you should be in like not the front lines, but like stay back from the action and don't hurt yourself. And Xander's like, what are you talking about? I can handle stuff. I'm good with this. And I forget who says it, but they're like, yeah, you really, or I think maybe Xander said, he's like, I was, an integral part to this. I got beat up so that you guys could all figure out a plan of attack.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
It's interesting just knowing what we know of Xander and his heroicness and his military guy memory.
He's getting the shit beat out of him, dude.
Yeah, but he has military guy memory.
Not anymore.
It seems like that's gone away.
Dissipated.
Yeah. I get it. You can't have him be like the super tough guy because it doesn't really work for the show. But it's so weird that they let him remember that.
Like, just give him a gun. Give him a gun and let him go. He can be the gun guy.
I've always said guns will solve a lot of Buffy's problems. It's the weirdest. This time it's weird to say that, but man.
But yeah, basically the end of this scene, they're all leaving the cave and Giles is kind of talking to Xander and he's like, no, but seriously, dude, like you should really stay away from this danger. This is kind of be pretty bad. Then we have the intro song and then
he makes like a really bad Jimmy Olsen Superman reference that also gets brought up again later by Cordelia.
Yeah. But then we got the song, then school the next day. There's two jocks throwing a football and Xander's that's on the quad.
I don't even know if they're jocks. They're just two dudes with leather jackets.
One of them had a leather jacket. At least one of them had a Letterman jacket.
A letter, like the Letterman.
But they're tossing a football and Xander walks up around him. He's like, hey guys, over here. They ignore him. He's like, guys, over here. And they ignore him again. He's like, guys, come on, just toss me the ball. So they're like, this guy won't go away unless we throw him the ball. Yeah. So they just overthrow him like a motherfucker. Have him running.
Everybody else is just playing straight up catch. Somehow Xander's running routes.
So they overthrow him. The ball bounces off of his hands and knocks the food out of this bully's hands, whose name is Jack O'Toole. And and Xander's like, oh shit, dude. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It's just like this guy. I mean, I don't know if you saw. He overthrew like a son of a bitch. Like he's got quite a noodle arm. And Jack O'Toole stands up and he goes, "Are you R-word?" And that's when I paused. I was like, "Oh, this is '90s. Yeah, this is."
Oh yeah, we get another. Yeah,
we get some
too,
problematic language and stuff going on, like stuff that is not acceptable anymore. Yeah. Are you R-worded? And Xander's like, "What? No. No. I mean, I took the test. I mean, I might be a little slow on some things, but no." And then Jack's like, "How about I beat the shit out of you?" And Xander's like, "Come on, man. Like it was just a mistake. I'll buy you another lunch."
I told you. I said it last episode. This school is full of some creepy dudes, man. And this dude is the top of the list.
Oh yeah. I mean, and then like Xander's like, "Dude, come on. I'll just buy you another lunch. Like it's no big deal. Like you don't need to be like this." And then the guy is like, "I'll cut your face off." "I'll cut your face off and feed it to you," or something. He said something else. And Xander's like, "What is with you, man?"
Yeah. We're from Baltimore, but I'm moving out of Sunnydale. Yeah. There's no way I'm living in Sunnydale.
No, dude. Absolutely not.
Sunnydale sounds... Without vampires, Sunnydale is still the worst place to live in the world. The regular people are insane. Yeah.
So then after Xander pleads one more time, the guy's like, "You know what? After school, I'm going to get a bunch of my buddies together and we're going to kick your ass." And Xander's like, "Okay, thank you." And then he walks away and Cordelia is there. Cordelia's been in the background seeing all this happening, lurking. And she walks up to Xander and she's like, "Wow, that was pathetic, Xander." And Xander's like, "What?" She's like, "It's crazy how you can stand up to demons and vampires on a nightly basis, but is Jack O'Toole just a regular guy? He freaks you out? You're a wuss."
This is where it got real confusing.
Yeah.
Because we've all seen him fight vampires, werewolves, save Cordelia a bunch. Now she's like, "Oh, you can do that.
Yeah.
But you can't face a person." But in the first scene, he can't even face the demons. Yeah. It's like he's getting it from all angles.
Yeah, and then Xander's like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know how I can do that. I can fight all these demons and shit, but I'm still afraid of this guy." And then Cordelia says, and this was my prediction for the last episode.
Yeah.
Cordelia's like, isn't it crazy how all of your friends have some kind of superpowers, like witches, slayers, werewolf, and you're just a little nothing. And I was like, that's, when like people cuss and like you get harsh language, but sometimes like just the most basic, like simplistic insult can cut so deep. And I felt when she called him a little nothing, I felt that so deep in my soul.
Yeah, she said you're useless.
Yeah. And Xander is just like, I mean, I'm an integral part of this group. You have no idea what you're talking about. And she's like, what do you mean you just get beat up all the time? You don't do shit. And Xander's like, I do stuff.
It's so crazy that it's coming from Cordelia, who you could say the exact same thing about.
I know. She's even worse because she runs. Like, she even admitted that one time where she was like, I was a coward and I ran away.
Yeah.
And this is...
Well, she admitted she ran away because Xander ran away and she gave him shit for that, which was like, what are you supposed to do? But yeah, she doesn't... I thought like last episode, she was going to have like that issue too. Or Xander. Like... Yeah, 'cause she doesn't have any powers.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Oz's power isn't really a power.
Yeah, I mean, his power is once a month.
He can smell things now. I think he can smell stuff now, so that's
residual power.
Yeah.
But this is where we get the title of the episode too. She calls Xander the Zeppo, and Xander's like, "What? What is that?" She's like, "It's," and I don't know what she's referencing. She says what it's referencing. I know that we looked it up before we started recording.
It's Zeppo is like one of the Marx brothers. And I think he was a straight man. Like, I don't really know much about the Marx Brothers. I know they were like a comedy duo thing.
Yeah.
And I guess he was a straight man. I guess he was the one always getting beat up for no reason or something.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
I guess that's the reference. Maybe. I don't know why they know this.
Yeah. I mean, it was like when that guy was trying to take Buffy to what guy's film festival?
Fuck,
what's his name?
Buster Keaton. Buster Keaton. Yeah.
They love
these kids.
Old film stuff.
Yeah. Black and white movies, man. They like love
that must have been all that was on TV in the 90s, like on a Saturday morning or something.
It was not.
Baby in Sunnydale.
Maybe.
But yeah, she calls him useless, calls him the Zeppo, and he's like, I'll show you. I'm not useless. I'm cool. I got stuff going on. And then the next scene is him sitting next to Oz at the lunch table and just being like, how do I be cool? Oz, I don't know what I gotta do. What do you do? You're considered cool. Is it because you like just don't say anything? And Oz is like, maybe. He's like that. That's perfect. That's so cool. And Oz is like, I guess so. And he's like, oh, goddamn, you're so cool.
He's got the best line here. He's like, oh, I know. You're in a band. Hey, is it hard to play a guitar? And he's like, not the way I play it.
I love that.
So good.
And then Xander's basically like, I gotta find a thing. What's my thing gonna be? Oz, what's my thing? And I was like, I don't know, man. You'll figure it out.
It's like, you're overthinking it, buddy.
And Xander's like, all right, I'm gonna find a thing. And then Oz says something like, hey man, and if you don't find a thing, it's not cut to Buffy talking to Giles and goes, the end of the world.
Yeah,
we're back to this cut. We're back to this. And they do like 2 or 3
this
of them.
episode, it felt so forced. This episode felt forced. The last time they did it, it was like noticeable, but it felt like it worked. This one felt forced, probably because the episode's B story or whatever just seems like it doesn't really matter, so you can just cut to it whenever.
Yeah. Like this one, it feels more forced to me because last time it was people answering a question that was asked in the last scene. This one, it's literally Buffy finishing Oz's sentence, which is what made it feel worse to me. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it's something that just didn't work with these as well. Yeah.
So yeah, Giles is now talking to Buffy and he's like, no, it is going to be the end of the world. These are the people. This is the demons that we're fighting are called the Sisterhood of Jai. They're an apocalypse cult. And they're trying to bring about the end of the world, and they're trying to open up the Hellmouth again. And as he's saying this, Oz walks in, and Giles is like, hey, you're cutting it a little close, aren't you? And Oz goes, that's just me, man. Locks himself in library jail. And I don't know if you saw, but there is a giant clock in the background. It is 5:19 on the clock. So number one, all of these students are still at school at 5:19. Number two, what time of year is it? Like, if it is January, that is an acceptable time to be locking yourself in because sunset would be pretty early. So I just wanted to make note of the time because they have it very prominently featured. It is 5:19.
The bigger issue, like the sunsetting thing, is something. The bigger issue is that they're doing this in the school.
Yeah.
They still lock him in the cage. We have seen that, like, Cordelia will, like, come to school late at night to go to the library to get a book. You can't have a werewolf locked in the cage in school.
But Vance, they have towels up.
And the towels are only up for his, like, nudity thing when he changes out.
Well, it's also, so they're still locking him in library jail. But we've seen...
Which we know has a window.
Which we know has a window, number one. Which we also have seen several people break out of.
Yes, including Giles in the Wish episode.
Yeah, just used an axe to bust out of it.
I guess it's like he's like a dog with like one of those like things where they just won't jump over the fence and they're just like, I'm locked in, I won't do anything. But it's just so weird that it happens in the library.
Yeah. So then we fast forward a little bit. It's now nighttime. Oz is now Monkey Man. At least they're consistent now. He's now fully just not that much of a werewolf like he was in the first time we saw him. Now he's full Monkey Man.
He's whatever that thing is. I thought the face looked a little better.
It did look a little,
time, but it doesn't look like a werewolf.
The face, at least this time, looks like it was spray painted gray. Like last time, it was like
and it had a white.
Last time, it was just like human skin face color.
That was the worst.
It was terrible.
I've ever seen.
It was terrible. But now he's got a gray face, which is fine. And Buffy and Willow are there researching, and they're talking about the Hellmouth opening. And now they're leaving school. And no. This is not. Oh yeah, Oz is a wolf. Now they leave school, and I have to say, it is. So it's at least 5:19 as they're leaving school. And there's still students walking all around the quad. There's a horde of students. And they're talking about the Hellmouth and how they need to do research about like the Sisterhood of J. And Xander pulls up in like a classic car. And he's like, any of you ladies need a ride? And it's a dope ass car. It's light blue.
A 57 Chevy.
Yeah, I think they talk about it later on. But it's a 57 Chevy. It's light blue. It looks rad as fuck. And Buffy and Willow are just kind of like, what is this? What are you doing? And Xander's like, what? It's a car. And they're like, no, but what are you doing? Where'd you get this car? And he's like, well, my uncle got a DUI, so I get to like drive his car around. And they're like, yeah, but I don't know what this is. What are you doing? And he goes, it's a thing. It's my thing. And Buffy goes, is this some kind of penis metaphor? And then she's worried about the demons that are going to come and open the Hellmouth and everything. And Xander's like, is there anything I can do to help? Anything I can do to help? Buffy's like, nah, it's probably best if you just sit this one out. And Xander's like, oh man.
Yeah, when did Xander become like never invited to battles?
Yeah.
Like, I get it's for the episode, but it doesn't really track.
Yeah. They're like, well, you know what? There is one thing you can do to help. And then it cuts to him buying donuts for the gang.
From Espresso Pump. And I don't know if you saw, but the employee who is giving him the donuts, the Espresso Pump logo is very, very, very poorly stitched onto the back of it. It looks like it's just like they put tape on the back of it and stuck it on there like, no one will notice. I noticed. I was more noticing how the donuts and muffins are just like out.
Yeah.
on the counter jobs. They're not like
behind glass
in a display or anything.
So Xander's picking up donuts, and Cordelia shows up to mock Xander some more. And she's like, ooh, look at this. Look at the integral part of the gang that you are. Look at you. Aren't you something? Everybody doing some kind of like life or death mission, and here you are getting donuts. And then Xander says something like, I can always count on you to make me not feel good about myself with precision. And then Cordelia calls herself the Surgeon of Mean, which is one of our Discord people's usernames. So shout out to Surgeon of Mean. I had no idea until this. And I saw that and I paused. I was like, that's what that's from.
You know what? Spoilers on our Discord.
Yeah, a little subtle spoiler.
Yeah.
So shout out.
No, there's a full spoiler section on there that everyone is having fun in. That we don't ever look at.
Do you ever think that people are just talking mad shit about us in the full spoiler section because we don't look in it?
I hope so.
But yeah, Cordelia is the Surgeon of Mean. Calls Xander expendable. And no one gives a shit about his car. So he walks outside and he's like, well, I got this car. And she's like, nobody cares about your car. No one's going to think that's cool, you lame piece of turd.
Cordelia would absolutely think that car was cool if a guy was driving it. She also has been tasked with getting donuts, specifically when she brought Krispy Kremes to Xander when Buffy was in the hospital.
Yes.
She has no self-awareness.
She also, like,
it's so great.
Do you remember that one episode where she was talking about the guys that are going to take her to prom or some kind of dance? And she's literally listing off the cars that they have. Being like, he's got a BMW.
It was either her or the other Cordette that were talking about it. But it was something about cars. It's absolutely her shallow group would all be about, oh, that guy's a sick car. He's taking me to prom.
She's just trying to cut Xander deep.
And it's working.
And she's like, no one's going to ever think you're cool in that car. And then a hot blonde lady walks up just as she says that. And she's like, oh my God, cool car. And Xander looks back at Cordelia and he's like, see this bitch? She's like, what kind of car is this? I love the car. Is it a 57 Chevy, blah, 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 blah? And Xander's like, why, yes, it is. I think so. She's like, does it got a blah, 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 blah type of engine and all this other car stuff that I don't know? And Xander obviously doesn't know either. He's like, I mean, yeah, I think so. Yeah. And she goes, how's it handle? And he goes, it handles like a dream. And she's like, do you mind if I hop in and can we go for a ride? And Xander looks back at Cordelia and he's like, why, yes, you can hop in and we can go for a ride. And Cordelia's like, fuck. And so the blonde lady gets in. I don't think we ever get a name for this lady.
We don't get a name or purpose for her. Like, I wrote that down. I was like, wait, car girl? Question mark?
I just kept writing blonde lady. So she gets in the car. Xander gets in, gives a little kind of like hat tip to Cordelia, and then he peels off. And they peel off to the Bronze. And the blonde lady is just babbling on to Xander about all the different guys she's hooked up with that had cool cars. And Xander is looking like, this is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. That's why I called her car lady. I was like, Jesus. Like, that's all she has.
So Xander's just like looking around for anyone to save him, anyone that he knows that could help facilitate his exit from this awful conversation. And who shows up but Angel? And Angel looks distressed. He's looking all around. He's like, oh God. And then Xander's like, Angel, buddy, old pal. Hey, how you doing? What's going on, man? How are you? You know anything about cars? You want to talk to this car? And Angel's like, I don't have time. I'm looking for Buffy. And he's like, oh, I think that she doesn't know what she's up against. There's some kind of apocalyptic thing going on. And Xander's like, I think they're at the library, actually, and they're doing research about like what to do about this thing. But I mean, if you need my help, I could give you a ride. I could do anything. And Angel like taps him on the shoulder and he's like, I think you best sit this one out, buddy. It's probably best for you to stay away.
My big takeaway here is that Xander is now buddies with Oz and Angel again. They are now on speaking terms without any awkwardness.
Yeah, I mean...
All right.
Do you think... I don't know if it's his haircut or the shirt that he's wearing, but Angel looks a lot thicker in this outfit. Like his neck looks thicker and his head looks fatter.
I don't know. I thought he looked... I was like, oh, damn. He looks... Because we just seen him with like his sweater on and just like in that like near the fireplace a lot. But him with the jacket...
Yeah.
Like him with the jacket just... I don't know.
Well, this is also kind of like more, it's like turtlenecky or something. I don't know what's going on with this outfit, but I feel like it made his head look thicker.
I don't know. I thought he looked good here. When he came in, I was like, oh, I think everybody here would be like, who is that guy?
Yeah. So Xander's like, no, please, I could help. I can help. I'm useful. And Angel's like, no, I don't really have time. I got to go. So he heads out and he goes to the library and Xander's like, ah. And then the blonde lady shows up from behind Xander. She's like, I'm bored. You want to go on a drive again? Let's go on a drive. Xander's like, yeah, sure. Let's go on a drive. So
I do love frustrated.
Yeah,
Xander.
just bored by the hottest girl that's talking to him.
Yeah.
So they go into his car. And Xander crashes into the car in front of him. Just little fender bender. He starts to drive, and he just like hits it.
It's something like, oh, they think I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot, but I'm not careless. And then he just rams into a car, and they cut to a wide shot. And you're just like, it's just in front of you.
There's no way.
Like, it's not even.
There's no way that he could have missed that.
And it's amazing that he got that parking spot in front of the Bronx.
Right.
I love they just like, well, sure, people park here in this alley.
So he crashes into the car in front of him, and who steps out of the car but the bully from earlier, Jack O'Toole, who Xander knocked his lunch out of his hands with the football. Mm-hmm. And Xander's just like, wow, this is not my fucking day. He's like, I'm sorry, bud. Like, this is a pretty minor fender bender here. Like, I don't have insurance, but I have plenty of money. I could just give you money. And Jack is like, I'm not interested in money. I'm interested in beating the fuck out of you. And Xander's just like, I mean, why are we doing this? This seems so unnecessary. And there's another callback to like, this isn't the end of the world. Like they keep saying the end of the world throughout this episode.
Yeah.
He's like, this isn't the end of the world. And then we go back to Oz in library jail, full werewolf form. And he is like freaking the fuck out. He's leaping at the cage, and Willow's guarding him with Buffy. And Willow's like, I don't know what's up with him, man. Like he is acting a lot more feral than usual. But they're researching the Sisterhood of Jai. Giles is annoyed that he doesn't have all of his books because the Watcher Council took his books or whatever.
And they're not taking his calls or something here?
So instead of contacting the Watcher Council, he is going to go try and contact the spirit guides who know everything about the future.
What? When?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Who?
These are the people that know fate, and they know the future.
When did this happen?
This is our first reference to the spirit guides. Why haven't you tried to do this earlier?
So this episode does a thing where it undercuts its own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it makes the end of the world scenario seem like it's nothing.
Yeah.
In this one. But we've had so many episodes, like the Kafla thing was like, it'll lead to the end of the world. Yeah. Everyone's crying and it's like so much sacrifice. This one is like, oh no, the Hellmouth's opening and the end of the world. And everyone's like, it's like played as a joke almost.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But then like if you do an end of the world scenario, which I'm sure will happen in the next 4 seasons or so, how do we take it seriously?
Yeah, it's kind of a boy who cried wolf situation, especially in an episode like this. Like, this is largely a Xander tale, and the end of the world scenario is happening in the background, like off screen.
Yeah, which is funny.
It's hilarious.
Don't get me wrong. It's just weird to take it seriously later when it becomes like a main story.
That's what I thought made it so funny to me. is like this.
The juxtaposition.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Xander's going through his own shit and there's crazy shit going on with him. But like this, we've seen so many of these apocalyptic end of the world scenarios that having it in the play in the background is just hilarious.
There's a scene the scene that made me think this was a soap opera is like so over the top of it. And I also don't understand the Watchers at all, man.
Dude, right?
This is an all hands on deck situation. Yeah. If Giles calls and says, hey, the world might end, they're like, oh, we're running another 18-year-old test. Like, what are they doing?
Well, it's also,
isn't this everything?
If this is the end of the world, where's Buffy's new Watcher?
Right?
Why is Giles still de facto?
Is he not there yet?
Yeah, is he like on a plane or something?
Are they having like a combat in England to see who gets to be the Watcher?
Having
just fighting
a chess tournament to see who's going to be the new
Watcher. We're going to have a read-off.
Who can be the most British? Oh man! But then they have this like pretty funny scene where Giles is like, "All right, before I go, I'm gonna take a donut," and he looks at the donuts that are left, and he's like, Did you all eat all the jellies?" And Buffy and Willow kind of look at each other and they're like, I mean, I guess so. We didn't know that you wanted the jellies. And Giles is like, I'm the one that always brings up the jellies. I'm the one that always says that we should bring jellies into the mix. And then Willow sells Buffy out so fast. Yeah, she's like, well, Buffy ate 3. And Buffy looks like, what the fuck? What are you...
I feel like this scene is the most seriously played scene in the whole episode.
Yeah, no, this is the most like realistic thing like that I've ever seen.
Giles is hurt.
Yeah.
Like, like the end of the world, he's like, oh, the Watcher's not taking my phone call. The jellies? Where's the jellies?
Yeah.
Like it looks like he's not going to talk to Buffy for like 5 days after this.
So then Giles is like, well, could we send Xander on another donut run? I was like, damn, dude, Xander has fallen down the totem pole so hard. But then they're like, no, he's done enough and he's not. He should really stay home and be safe. Like, we're really worried about him. He's kind of a liability, to be honest.
Buffy ate 3 jelly donuts.
Yeah.
Though. That's a lot.
Dude, I don't know. Sometimes I can wolf down like a half dozen. No, I feel sick.
I love donuts.
Yeah.
But man, I always feel bad afterwards.
Yeah, man, I will crush some donuts and then feel terrible.
Yeah.
But they don't want Xander involved at all because they're like, look, we need to make sure Xander is home where he can be safest. Cut to Jack O'Toole now just pulls out an enormous knife.
It is Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah,
level.
I didn't know.
That's not a knife. That's not a knife.
Yeah.
This is a knife.
Xander even says something. He's like, I'm going to take this knife. How about I take it to your face? And then Xander says something like, I don't even know if you can call that a knife. That's like kind of a sword. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this is bigger than a knife.
Oh, it's one of those like Bowie knives. Like it's one of those 90s combat like Commando.
Yeah, Predator. Like you're crawling through the mud with it in your mouth in an action movie.
Yes. Yep. Like nobody in high school in Sunnydale should have that knife ready to go.
I mean, it's huge. And it's so big, in fact, that Jack O'Toole has named it. He named it Katie. Xander's like, cool knife. And I just want to say, Jack O'Toole is like rubbing this knife along Xander's ear, along his neck, and there's a crowd of about 40 people outside watching this happen.
Cargirl is just standing
She's standing there in the background.
And she's not like freaked out. She's just like
she's annoyed. She's got her arms crossed. She's like, this is really cutting into my drive time.
And I was like, is Cargirl going to turn out to be one of those demons? Those Jai people?
Yeah.
The Sisterhood of Jay? I was like, she's going to turn into a giant demon. She has to, right?
I was like, she's got to be something because she's just not acting human.
Yeah.
But...
And there's a ton of people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, this is so bustling.
Nobody's screaming. No one's yelling. No one's like, hey, dude, stop.
And Jack O'Toole is legitimately planning to kill Xander right here. in front of everyone.
He's got this giant knife up to his neck, and he's lecturing Xander about fear. He's like, you know what the difference between me and you is? Fear. You're afraid of this. You're afraid of this. And Xander's like, yeah, you have a giant knife up to my neck, dude. And then Jack is like, oh yeah, you think that's scary? Here's how you should react. Gives Xander the knife, puts it in his hand, and he takes a step back and he's like, come on, scare me. Let's get some fear going. And at this point, the blonde car girl is like, this is boring. Are we going to go on a drive or what? And Xander even turns where he goes, I'm sorry. Is my impending life and death situation not entertaining enough for you?
Mind blown, dude. I have no idea. I do not get this character at all.
It was so dumb. But as he's turned around saying that to the blonde, O'Toole rushes Xander, slams him up onto the car, and he's like in his face. And he's taking the knife from Xander now, and he's putting it up to his neck again. And at this point, a cop shows up.
Magically. There's never been a cop near the Bronx.
And this cop,
ever,
even if he were to try to do something, he's like 60 years old, it looks like. And he's shining the flashlight.
Oh, he was that old.
He's shining the flashlight on Xander and O'Toole. And he's like, hey, break it up. O'Toole puts the enormous blade behind his back. And they're like, what the hell's going on? Oh, O'Toole. I should have known it was you. You're always up to no good. And then O'Toole's like, what are you talking about up to no good? We're just a couple of buds wrestling. And then the cop shines a light in Xander's face. He's like, is that really what's happening here? And Xander looks back at O'Toole and he looks back at the cop and he goes, yeah, man, just a couple buddies wrestling, you know? No harm, no foul. The cop's like, all right, well, if I ever have to talk to either of you again, you're going to go into the clink.
He says wrestling not in a gay way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's another 90s gay panic,
90s
quote unquote, no homo
problematic
moment.
Language that would not fly today.
Yeah. I was like, Xander, like that wasn't even part of the issue.
Like he covered for O'Toole already. You didn't need to say it wasn't. Like you didn't need to add in that, you know?
Yeah. That makes it seem like it was.
And so the cop is like, all right, well, quit roughhousing, get home. And they,
all right, get back into the Bronx and keep drinking, youngins.
So he leaves. And O'Toole like pats Xander on the back. He's like, you know what? You're not half bad, Xander. I like it. You covered for me. You're a pretty decent guy. You know what? I want to hang out with you. Let's go for a ride. And then the blonde is like, finally. Let's go for a ride. Let's go pick up my boys. We're all going to hang out. We're going to hang out with the boys. And Xander's like, oh, okay. What a 180. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's go have some fun with the boys. So then we cut to Xander, O'Toole, and the blonde at a graveyard.
This episode is insane. Yes. Honestly, it's insane.
It's ridiculous. And it gets more ridiculous from here.
Yes.
Like, this is pretty normal Buffy stuff at this point. Minus the blonde car lady. She is like the sore thumb that's sticking out so much.
Yeah. And she bails way too... It's so weird when she bails.
So they're at this graveyard. O'Toole is standing over the grave of somebody. And he's chanting something. And he's chanting some kind of spell. And Xander's looking. He's kind of like rolling his eyes. The blonde is there with her arms crossed. Like, I could be driving right now. We could be on a drive. This is dumb. O'Toole takes his giant blade, cuts his palm, and pours some of his blood over top of this grave. And he's like, arise, arise, arise. And then a fucking lug-headed jock dumbass pops his head up out from the grave, comes out. O'Toole's like, hey, what's up, dude? Big Bob. And Big Bob, who is the zombie, is like, what's up, O'Toole? How's it going? And this is the point where Car Lady is like, this is fucking crazy. Runs off screaming.
Never to be seen
Never
again.
brought up again. Never seen again.
Why is she in this episode?
I know. What the fuck happened?
Like, she's not just like in it for that car scene and he drops to the bronze and he like ditches her and then he goes into the parking lot and then a fight happens. Because all of that could happen without her being around. I was like, she has to have something to do.
I think it was to kind of stick it to Cordelia a little bit, who is like mocking Xander.
But after the donut scene, we don't really need her to keep talking about cars.
Yeah.
And then she just bails and the things get real crazy.
Yeah. So she bails.
But the knife didn't freak her out.
The knife to Xander's neck and ear and like the fight, she was bored by that.
Yeah.
But this.
And you know she's going to forget about this tomorrow.
Yes. She's going to tell no one that the dead was raised.
Yeah.
So she runs off.
It's insane. It's insane how many people in Sunnydale know how to bring dead people back.
It is. It's insane also how many people in Sunnydale have selective memory.
It's so easy. Like, when he brought this guy back, I'm like, that was so easy.
Yeah, he said like 15 words and cut himself.
Yeah, I was like, record this and have Willow know it just in case you die. I mean,
yeah.
Like,
hey, it's me, the Quenchies. I'm that late afternoon craving you just can't shake. Wait, what's that? Welch's Grape Aid? No! Made with real fruit and no added sugar, nothing answers the call of the Quenchies like Grape Aid. Got the Quenchies? Grab a Grape Aid in your juice aisle.
Curious about lip filler? Whether you want a subtle pout or bold plump, Juvederm lip fillers can give you a customized lip look. Juvederm Volbella XC and Juvederm Ultra XC can last up to a full year with optimal treatment, giving your lips added volume for smooth, natural-looking, and long-lasting results. Whether you're concerned about your thin lips or simply want fuller lips, ask about Juvederm lip fillers at your next appointment with your licensed specialist. And download the Ally app, that's ALLE, the official loyalty program of Juvederm, to save on treatments. For important safety information and to find a licensed specialist, visit Juvederm.com. That's JUVEDERM.com. Not for people with severe allergic reactions, allergies to lidocaine, or the proteins used in Juvederm. Common side effects include injection site redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, firmness, lumps, bumps, bruising, discoloration, or itching. There's a risk of unintentional injection into a blood vessel, which can cause vision abnormalities, blindness, stroke, temporary scabs, or scarring. Talk to a licensed specialist to find out if it's right for you.
I don't know.
So he brings Big Bob back, and he is like, bro, how long have I been out for? And O'Toole's like, you've been out for like 5 or 6 months, man. And he's like, oh, man, I've been out for a while. What did I miss? Have you been recording Walker, Texas Ranger for me? And O'Toole's like, of course I've been. He's like, good, I got to catch up on that, man.
And Xander's just watching. Like, Xander's not even, like, shocked or anything. He's just, like, watching this.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, fellas, this is some pretty standard stuff that I see on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And then Big Bob is like, you know what we got to do? We got to raise some more of our bros. We need to get the gang back together. And O'Toole's like, I'm way ahead of you, buddy. We're going to do it. This is Xander, by the way. Xander is our wheelman. And Big Bob's like, wheelman, hell yeah.
Let's go to these graves while this giant wound on my hand keeps bleeding.
Yeah. So they're off to go raise some more of their dead bros. They raise another guy. He pops his head out and he's like, what's up, dudes?
It's like you're watching this and you're like, what is that?
This was like, it was very fun.
Yeah. Yes.
So then we go over to a different graveyard at this point. I don't know if it's a different one or the same one, but they cut to like
It's the same graveyard, different part of the cemetery.
Okay, because they show the title plate, I guess, of the graveyard or whatever. And then we have Giles. He's doing a spell in order to contact the spirit guides. He needs more information about how to defeat the spirits of Jai. And the spirit guides are like, dude, we're not telling you the future. That would bring chaos to the world and it would allow you to like change fate. Like, we don't do that. And Giles is like, come on, pretty please. And they're like, fuck off, dude. And then so they go away. They're like, what? You bothered us for this? Fuck off.
Why would you ever talk to the spirits of fate? Unless that was your
I know,
question.
like what other information could they provide him?
Hey, you seen Walker, Texas Ranger? like what? And I think them leaving, I'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, that's my answer. They're not telling me something because the world's not going to end.
Yeah. So the spirit guides dissipate into the atmosphere because they're kind of like a cloud, like a orange cloud.
Yeah.
So they dissipate. And in the background, you see Xander and 3 zombie bros. And Xander sees Giles. And Xander's like, oh, thank God. Somebody to take me away from this craziness that I've accidentally found myself in. Runs over to Giles. He's like, Giles, what's going on, man? How's it going? What are you up to? What are you doing in the graveyard? And Giles is like, I'm just trying to contact the spirit guides to see if they know how to give me any information about how to defeat the Sisterhood of Jai, but they denied me and I don't know what I'm going to do. The apocalypse is coming. And Xander's like, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do to help? And Giles kind of looks at him. He's like, no, it's best you stay out of trouble. You stay out of this. It's like, Giles, Xander's in a graveyard right now.
Right? I'm like, you guys are both, normally Buffy is watching graveyards because of vampires, but you guys are just casually strolling around there at night, not worried about vampires.
What do you think Xander's up to right now? Just hanging out at the graveyard? Of course he's up to something fucking crazy. And Giles is like, no, you stay out of trouble. And, I think I'm going to head out. I'm out of here. I got to go back to the library. We only have... we got to start preparing because the apocalypse is coming. And he just leaves.
Yeah, he's like, weird stuff is happening, like weird occurrences, like stuff I can't even describe. And he's giving him a window to say, hey, the guy I'm with is bringing people back from the dead. But he doesn't say anything.
At a certain point, Giles is like sniffing in the air. He goes, something bad's happening. Death, the smell of death is in the air. And Xander goes, that might be Big Bob.
Yeah.
And Giles Giles just pays no attention to that comment.
Yeah, you don't want to tell. And Xander doesn't want to say, hey, this dude is bringing people back from the dead. Like, that seems like top news.
Yes. What? Nope. Giles leaves. And Xander's like, damn it. No one's going to help me. And the bros are like, come on, Xander, let's go. Let's go party. So he goes back to the car.
Yeah.
Then the next scene is Buffy at Willie's. And Willie has been beaten the fuck up. His bar is trashed. There is debris and broken glass and bottles everywhere. And he tells Buffy that the Sisterhood of Jai, I forget how they pronounce it.
I think it's Jai.
All right, we'll say Jai. The Sisterhood of Jai is looking for Angel. They're looking for Buffy, and they want to kill him. And they kept saying that tonight is the night. They're doing the apocalypse. They're opening the Hellmouth tonight. And Buffy's like, oh my God, this is awful news. This is terrible. And Willie's like, if I were you, I'd just go find Angel. I'd go and just drive to any place but here. You guys need to spend the last few moments of your lives together because the apocalypse is coming tonight.
Yeah. And I think they did the tonight thing because I think Giles says, at least we still have some time.
Yeah.
It's not happening immediately. And it's like, it's happening tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're just jumping into that storyline.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And
I thought Willie was going to die right here.
So did I. I was like, oh man, Willie, what?
Yeah.
Stay strong, bud. So then we cut to Xander driving with the bros through town, and Big Bob is like, so Xander's car is like a convertible, and Big Bob is sitting on like the back, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs, we gotta get beer! We gotta get some beer!
In the car that Xander's uncle got a DUI in.
Yep. Yeah.
Cops aren't pulling over cars in this neighborhood, man. I don't know. You have to be so drunk behind the wheel and like crash into a police station for a police officer to pull you over.
Well, I mean, it's also illegal for people to be sitting in the car like that. Like,
yeah, but I mean, the reckless driving we've seen on this show.
Oh my God, yeah, with Buffy Xander,
Giles
fucking Cordelia driving into the school. Like, there's some wild shit going on. So Big Bob wants beer. He sits back down into the car. One of the other zombie bros is like, we gotta get some girls. And then another guy's like, how about we bake a cake? And then I was just like, what?
I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So they're like, oh man, this is great. Xander, thanks so much for driving us around. This is going to be so great. We should go to that, you know what? We should go to that convenience store. They're talking about how they all died, I guess.
Yeah.
And one of the guys said, like, we got to go to that convenience store where the Armenian dude has a gun and he just shoots you. We should take that gun and kill him.
Well, yeah, that guy shot Big Bob.
Yeah.
So they want to go back to that place and I guess kill that guy and steal him beer.
Yeah. But O'Toole squashes all those ideas. He's like, no. I actually kind of like this guy's idea. Let's bake a cake. And then everyone's like, let's bake a cake. Yeah. And Xander's like, this isn't that bad. They just want to bake a cake. Okay, that's fucking stupid. But I mean, if that's the limits of this ain't half bad.
I knew it was like code word for something.
Yeah.
But man, if they would have baked a cake, this might have been my favorite episode.
I know. I was hoping like this.
If it was a montage of them baking a cake and Xander's just looking at him like, what?
Just guys broing out. Like, look, we don't have cake in hell. I miss cake, man. They're just eating cake, watching Walker.
Yeah. I would have loved it.
But instead, they pull up to a hardware store. They're like, here, this is where we got to get the supplies for the cake. And Xander's like, okay. But number one, it looks like it's closed.
Yeah. And they just break the glass.
They're like, it's always open for us. They just take like a light stand and just smash into it. And then they head in there and Xander's sitting in the car and he's like, oh, fuck. Like, this is crime. This is criminal activity. And I am now a part of this.
I'm doing crime now.
Yeah, I am the wheelman for these people who are breaking and entering. This is not good. And he looks over his shoulder and he sees Willow coming out of the magic, what's it called?
It was like Bob's Magic Cabinet or something.
Yeah.
It was something. I was like, wait, when did he buy it?
You're right. I know it was called the Magic Cabinet. I don't know if it said Bob's or anything, but
I think it said Bob's, yeah.
But Willow's coming out of the magic cabinet, and Xander's like, finally, somebody with some sense.
How do they not hear the window panes across the street? Like, Willow, you're walking around at night when vampires exist by yourself. I think you're going to walk all the way back to the school.
Yes.
Like, put your head on a swivel.
Dude.
Like, they don't notice anything.
Not at all. So Xander runs over to Willow. He's like, Willow, I've been getting in some crazy shit. What are you doing? What's going on? And she's like, I'm just picking up supplies for this protection spell because I'm dealing with some crazy apocalyptic shit. There's a lot of bad stuff about to happen and it's happening quickly. And Xander's like, great. Is there any way I can help? And Willow's like, no, but the apocalypse is coming. So I need to get back to the library. She takes a step off camera, comes back into the frame, puts her hand on Xander's shoulder and goes, I just want you to know that I love you. And then she walks away. And Xander's left there standing like, what the fuck is happening?
I was feeling the exact same way.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting such little details and he's been told by everyone like, the apocalypse is coming tonight.
Yeah. The apocalypse is always coming.
Yeah.
I don't know why this one is more freaky than the last three.
So Willow leaves and O'Toole sees that Xander is standing pretty far away from the car now. And O'Toole grabs Xander. He's like, what are you doing, man? Are you thinking about leaving? You think you're going to leave right now? And Xander's like, I mean, it is getting kind of late. Something came up. I really got to go. And O'Toole's like, you're not fucking going anywhere. You think you can just skip out? You know what I think it is? And now all of the zombie bros are surrounding Xander. Like, you know what I think it is? I think it's because you haven't been initiated into the crew yet. and you don't feel like you're a part of the crew, but you're a part of the crew, man. We just need to do the initiation. And Xander's like, okay, what's the initiation? And then O'Toole takes out his giant knife again. He puts it to his chest and his neck and goes, the initiation is you need to die. And then the zombie bros are like chanting like, die, die, die. Do it and you're cool. Do it and you're cool. And Xander's like, wait a minute. I don't want to die. And then they go, what are you, too good to be dead? I love that line.
You got a problem with dead people?
And I love that line too. Like the back and like, what are you, too good to be dead? You got a problem with dead people? And there's like, no, I mean, no, just fucking, wait a minute, guys.
Yeah, it's time we stop shaming dead people.
Yeah.
You know, this discrimination against dead people, it's too much.
And then Xander goes, no, I don't have a problem with you guys. But like, what do you mean? Why you got to kill me? Jack's not dead. O'Toole's not dead. And then O'Toole picks up his shirt. He's got like 6 bullet shots in his gut.
Yeah, like who do people think he is? When did he get shot? And he's just in school?
Yeah, right. He was just hanging out at school, eating lunch.
Yeah.
And then Xander's like, oh, fuck. And O'Toole's like, I got shot a bunch of times, but luckily one of my bros was nearby to raise me from the dead.
He said his uncle did it or something.
Yeah. So he was right there.
So his uncle somehow knows like how to raise the dead and then taught it to him. And then he went and raised his bros. So this uncle, we need to like have a talk with.
There's so many, like, as you said before, so many people know how to raise the dead in this show.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
This town is freaky, man.
But it's very funny. And Xander's like, well, fuck. And then he starts to like kind of get closer to Xander with the knife. And then Xander goes, hold on a second. Enough of this. Enough. All right. This is getting out of hand. All right. I know you guys want to kill me and you want to initiate me into the crew, but there's one thing you're forgetting. And O'Toole's like, what's that? And then Xander just shoves everybody off of him and runs away. But he doesn't run away because he stupidly runs into the espresso pump, which he corners himself, but somehow escapes being surrounded by 4 guys and then gets back into his car and drives off.
Yeah, you would think you would be able to outrun dead people, especially if you were on the swim team for 2 days. But
I mean, especially Big Bob. Like, I mean, Big Bob's a big boy.
And he's a big boy, but he's got that Letterman jacket on.
That's true.
Probably was an athlete.
I also do love the touch of he was buried in his Letterman jacket, but the other 2 bros are in suits.
True. Yeah, I thought they were just like classy businessmen when they came out.
No, their families cared about them.
This guy was shot robbing a convenience store. Let's bury him in his left.
Well, for a second when he popped out of the grave, I thought he was the same dead guy that was raised from the dead like 3 seasons ago.
Yeah. I didn't mind him running into the espresso. I thought it was a cool looking way that he ran in. He hopped through the thing and they got stuck behind. And I know that car would have never started up and taken off on time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was fine with it.
Yeah, I thought it was. I was like, "What are you doing, dude? You just cornered yourself when he did that." But he escaped.
I mean, it was better. It was more exciting than if he runs away and then they cut to the next scene, which they would have done.
So now Xander's driving around, and we get a scene with Faith. Faith is just in the middle of like a park or something, and she's fighting one of the sisters of Jay, and she's fighting it, and she's not doing well, man. She's getting her ass kind of kicked. And so Xander sees this as he's driving, and he's like, oh, now's my chance. I can help somebody. Faith is pushed up against a fence, kicks the sister of Jai off of her and gets some distance. Xander straight up drives into the demon, yells to Faith, get in. Faith jumps into the car. He drives off with the Sisterhood of Jai person chasing after him. And I was like, hell yeah, Xander, showing your usefulness now. And they drive off. They park at Faith's apartment. They run in there and they're like, do you think they followed us? And they're like, no. And then Faith takes off her leather jacket. She's wearing like a cami. And she's like, that was tough, man. I was getting my ass kicked. I think I got my shoulder dislocated. Xander, can you hold me really quick? And Xander like goes for a hug. And she's like, no, idiot. Yeah. She puts his hand on her shoulder. And she's like, are you ready for this? Xander's like, oh, I'm okay. And she just cracks her shoulder back into place. And she's like, whew. All right, that feels a lot better now. That feels better. And Xander's like, man, this is a fucking crazy night, huh? And Faith's like, yeah, that was a big fight with no kill. Got me ready to pop. And Xander's like, yeah, you're telling me. And she goes, I'm fucking ready to pop, Xander. She gets closer to him. She goes, you up for it? And Xander's like, I mean, I'm up for it now. I'm really up right now. And she starts kissing him and taking off his like jacket. And she's like, you sure you're up for it? And Xander's like, oh God, I am very up for it right now. And so she starts to undress Xander. And Xander's like, wait, I need to look, I haven't been up with anyone yet. I'm a virgin, basically. And she's like, don't worry, throws him onto the bed, takes her top off. So she's sitting there topless. And she goes, I'll help you steer around the curves. And then they fuck.
I know.
It's like, what? This is how Xander loses his virginity. He dated Cordelia for months. He's been in love with Willow for months. He's been in love with Buffy for months. And on a random night where he runs over a demon, Faith is the first one to fuck him. Bravo, Xander.
It was so random. Like, I was like, wait, so what? Once they pulled back to her place, I was like, why did they drive back to her apartment?
Right? Why wouldn't you go to like the library? Like
the library. Like something. That's what you do every time. And then, I mean, they're like, she's not antsy about getting back to the demon that they just left or the world ending. And it's just like it's so random. Like, I did not expect this to happen the way this episode was going.
Me neither. I thought Xander's virginity losing was going to be like a very big lead up emotional, like him with Willow.
No, he's a guy. Only the girls get emotional lead ups for it. The guys are just like, it's this thing that happens.
But yeah, after Faith is like, don't worry, kid. I'll fucking steer you around these wicked curves. She does say wicked in this earlier in the episode. And then they have like the shot of like the reflection of a TV and you just see Faith riding him. Yeah. And you're just like,
does she have like the sheet all over her?
Yeah, she looks like a ghost riding him, dude.
Yeah. I was like, what is that? We can't see her back.
We just saw her back. That's the thing.
Yeah. I'm like, does she have the sheet up to her head?
So they bang.
It's
then they
insane.
Then they're like cuddling, post-sex cuddling, and Xander's like they're both looking like longingly into each other's eyes. And then Faith just kicks Xander out. She's like, that was good, kid. That's all I fucking needed, though. Hit the bricks, beat it, bozo. And just chucks him out. She's like, I got to shower. Closes the door on him. Xander's like out there wearing just like a sheet and holding all of his clothes.
Yeah.
Unreal.
It's like, this just happened.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I mean, as she's about to fuck him, Xander's like, did I tell you I'm having a crazy fucking night?
Yeah. It's the craziest. I mean, this is the night. Like, he's had some nights you won't forget, but man.
Yeah. So then we have a scene where Oz is in the library jail and he is trying to break out. He is going ape shit. And Willow's worried and she's like, dude, I've never seen him like this. And Giles is there. And he's like, it's because he can sense the Hellmouth. He can sense it. It's about to open. He's really panicking. So what we need to knock him out. So Giles opens the door, gives Willow the tranquilizer gun. Willow shoots him once with the tranq. It's not happening. It's not working. Oz is still all feral, going to attack Willow. And Giles is like, shoot him again! Shoot him again! Willow reloads in the nick of time, shoots him again, and now Oz is out. And she's like, sorry, hope you'll forgive me in the morning. And Giles is like, we need to put him somewhere safer than this. He's in library jail. The Hellmouth is literally like right underneath of him. We need to take him somewhere else.
It's really funny that they didn't just shoot him while he was in the cage.
Right?
I do not understand why they opened the cage and then shot him.
Exactly.
Like this isn't how zoos transport lions and tigers. They don't go, oh, let him out, and when he charges you, shoot him real quick.
Yeah. Like, you went from literally shooting a werewolf in a cage to like, let's make this fair. Let's give him a fair fight.
And they're getting their money's worth out of that tranquilizer.
Oh, yeah, they are. So they're like, you got to transport him somewhere else. And Willow's like, all right. So now we go back to Xander. Xander walks back to his car. He's fully dressed now. And he's like, whew, this is quite a crazy night. But I just had sex. And that's pretty awesome. And then he looks in the back at all the supplies that the zombie bros stole. And he's like, let's see what they actually stole. They were trying to bake a cake. He opens the bag. It's a bunch of kerosene and like equipment to make a bomb. And he's like, they weren't trying to bake a cake at all.
He's like, hey, they're not baking any cake. And he says it like it's the first time it came to his mind.
Yeah.
And he's so dumb that they were at a hardware store. It's just so funny. That line delivery, him post-sex is just really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that he does afterwards, where he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
So he drives back to the hardware store and he's like, oh, no. They definitely stole some more stuff. This is crazy. Where would they put a bomb? How would they make a bomb? Can't believe I just had sex. I just had sex. Where would that bomb be, though?
It's like he's a detective now, but he's also like, I just love it.
Yeah, and he's like, you know what? Yeah. These are fucking zombie dead guys. I'm out of my element here. I need to find Buffy. I need to find somebody to actually help because I am out of my league right now. I just had sex. I gotta go. Buffy's gonna know what to do. So cut to Buffy going, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To Angel. Dude, and I loved everything about what happens in this scene.
This is my soap opera scene.
Yeah.
This is the soap opera scene for real.
So she's like half in tears with Angel at the mansion. She's like, I don't know what to do. And Angel's like, you have to know what to do. You know what? You need to get out of here. I'll sacrifice myself. I need you to go on living. I've already lived a long life, and I'll sacrifice myself because I love you. And Buffy's like, I can't bear the pain of fucking watching you die again. You can't do this. You can't die again. I need you. And then Xander shows up and is like, excuse me, guys.
And he's just so small in the background in the doorway.
And Buffy and Angel turn around, just tears streaming from their faces. And Xander's like,
yeah.
I've got a bit of a, you know what? Never mind. Do you guys need any help? And they just look at him like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll leave you guys to it. And he walks out and he's like, well, I guess I need to figure out how to kill zombies and defuse a bomb and find where a bomb is by myself.
What is great about this scene is it works better than last episode's Cordelia show up.
Yeah.
Because it's the same type of setup where Giles and Buffy are having like the emotional thing. He's betrayed her.
Yes.
And then she shows up and she's being comedic.
Yes.
And it doesn't really work as well because the scene is played so straight.
Well, it's such a serious and fucked up, like what is actually happening. We've seen it and it's wrong. Like it's fucked up. And then you add this comedic, like the whole episode too is like fucked up and dramatic. This episode is a lot of hilarious comedy.
Well, this scene with Buffy and Angel is so over the top. I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
You can't sacrifice. The world's going to end. I don't know what to do. And then having like a person come in and be like, hey, there's some zombies and a bomb, but you guys have your own thing going on, so I'm just going to tiptoe away.
Yeah.
Like, that's funny.
Yes.
Like, he stepped into something that's more that's serious, but not played.
Yes.
That's serious. And we haven't been following it the whole episode. So it's like we are on Xander's side when he shows up more than we are on Buffy and Angel's.
Well, it's also great too because at this point we have the same information that Xander has. Because
exactly, that's what I mean.
Like we as the audience are left in the dark, so we just don't know the gravity of the situation. But Buffy and Angel and Willow and Giles, they all do.
Yes,
and so we're viewing this from Xander's point of view of just like, I don't want to bother you guys.
Yeah. And in the last episode, Cordelia's reason for being there was to get a book so she could write a paper on Bosnia.
Yeah.
So it was like not even like a valid, like if she showed up, like we said last episode, to be like, hey, Buffy, we're all helpless too.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, there's a reason for her to actually be there story-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of just like comedy stuff. But this one works really well.
Yes, it does.
But it was like soap opera acting from Buffy and Angel, which is the point.
Yeah, it was over the top, hammy. Chewing it up, man.
Yeah.
So Xander leaves. He's like, I guess I gotta do all this by myself. So now we have Giles casting a protection spell, and Willow comes into the library, and she's like, "Yeah, I moved Oz. We need to protect him because who knows what's going to be coming up from underneath." And Giles is casting the spell, and Willow's like, "I could do it," and Giles is like, "No, you need to stay safe. I'll do this. Who knows what's going to be coming up from underneath." And then you have a nice little like swoop down to see exactly what is going on underneath of them. And right below them are the zombie bros setting up their bomb, which I thought was hilarious. They're just setting up the bomb, and they set the bomb for 1 hour, and they're all like, like they're all just like, yeah, this is cool as fuck.
I love they just broke into the school and no one noticed.
Well, it's like, what's the point of them setting the bomb there? Were they all students there, I guess?
Have they been doing... Apparently they've been making bombs before. Like baking a cake isn't their first time.
No.
When was the last time there was an explosion in Sunnydale?
Yeah,
These guys are a menace.
They're well versed in bomb making. Yeah. So much so that they have their code word and they all know what it means.
Yes.
Again, with the men in this town being such problems.
Yeah. I mean, jeez.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So Xander is now driving to go see Giles. He's like, I gotta go figure something else out. I gotta figure out Giles. Giles will know what to do. I gotta tell him that there's a bomb and there's these dead guys. And as he's driving, he comes across the dead bros. And they're all like, hey, what's up? Look who it is. It's our wheelman. What's happening, man? And they all kind of like split apart. And Xander's like, Christ, what am I going to do? He speeds up, grabs one of the zombie bros, and starts dragging him outside of the car. And
pretty awesome.
It was awesome as hell, man. And the zombie bro's like, what the hell are you doing, man? This is crazy. And Xander is interrogating him. And he's like, what the hell? What are you guys doing? tell me where the bomb is. And the zombie bro's like, I'm not telling you. And he's like, I will fucking drop you and kill you. And the zombie's like, okay. We left the bomb in the school. And he's like, oh my God, where in the school? He's like, in the boiler room. And then Xander's driving still, and he's swerving. And he goes, all right, this next part is really important. And I'm only going to ask you once. How do you defuse? And as soon as he says defuse, a mailbox takes the zombie bro's head off. And Xander goes, ah! Drops his phone.
It's pretty great.
Oh my God, this episode is such comedy gold, dude. It's so good. Like the timing is so good.
I love that the zombie bro just gave up all the information.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like just spilled immediately. like any sign of threat, these guys just fold.
Yes. So Xander's like, fuck, now how am I going to figure out? I guess I got to figure out how to defuse a bomb myself. So he drives up to the school. Parks is running through the school because the zombie bros, they're quick and they can keep up with a car. They are running. They're chasing Xander down through the school, and Xander, he somehow like gets them. He shakes them. He gets them out of his way, and now he's like missing in the school. And O'Toole's like, all right, we gotta split up. And then we cut to the gang of Faith, Buffy, Angel, Willow, Giles in the library, just getting viciously attacked by this gigantic tentacle monster. And there's flashing lights. They all have axes and these giant weapons. And they're like, may God save us all.
It's so silly, but this is also the show.
Yes.
Like the show is poking fun of itself in such a funny way here.
So from the point of view of the tentacle monster, the camera swoops down, goes past all of the gang that's in the library to the window of the library. And you see Xander run past, and you see all the zombie bros run past. And one of them stops, and he backs up, and he looks through the window and sees all this chaos that's happening. And he goes, whoa, cool. And then off screen, O'Toole is like, hey, come on, we got to get Xander. And he's like, oh, right. And he starts running.
It's like this thing. It's like, there's a bomb that's going to go off in the school, but the world's ending because of a monster. And you know what's crazy? The Hellmouth must have to be like, it's not a physical plane, right?
Yeah.
Because the bomb is underneath the school, underneath the library.
Yes.
So
he would have had to gone past the bomb.
If it was like actually underneath the earth.
Yeah.
But it's just like a metaphysical plane, I guess, kind of like that pool that went to the demon land.
Yeah, you're right.
But when it comes through the floor, it definitely ripped up the library floor last time it did it.
Yeah, absolutely it did.
Okay. Yeah, that's all.
So I got a little ahead of myself here, and this is the part where the zombie bros split up. O'Toole goes straight, Big Bob goes left or something, and the other one goes right. And now they're looking for Xander, who is hiding. And now we're following Big Bob. And Big Bob...
This is amazing.
Big Bob walks down the stairs. He catches a glimpse of the gigantic fireman's axe that's just available. Not next to a fire hydrant, or not a hydrant, extinguisher.
Yeah.
Not on a fire alarm. It's just there, displayed like a piece of art.
Yeah, just install a sprinkler system and get the weapons out of the school.
Big Bob elbows his way through the glass, grabs the axe, and he's like, all right, now Big Bob's got an axe.
He says, I think the line is perfect for chopping or something.
Yeah.
He says something like so obvious. I was like, this is amazing.
So now Xander shows up. You see Xander. And he lunges at Xander with the axe. He chops at him and he misses. And Xander's on top of this table. He chops at him again and he misses. And then
military guy training comes in here.
Yeah.
He starts getting some punches in.
Yeah, Xander punches him and knocks him down. Big Bob lets go of the axe somehow, and Xander gets a hold of it and kicks. Oh, Big Bob's on top of him with the axe, and Xander kicks him off of him. Xander stands back up, and now he has the axe. Xander has the axe. And instead of chopping Big Bob's head off or chopping his limbs off, he goes behind the soda machine, uses the axe as a lever, and pushes the soda machine down and crushes Big Bob. And that was
pretty amazing.
Fucking brutal, dude.
I've been rewatching a little bit of Breaking Bad, and there's like an early scene in Breaking Bad that has something similar. An early season of Breaking Bad that has something similar.
Yeah.
That happens to a character. And I couldn't help but think of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that he just was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to push this on this guy's head.
Yeah. I mean, it just smushes his head down.
Yeah.
And then so the other zombie goon runs in that's not O'Toole. And he sees Big Bob head crushed underneath the soda machine. And then Xander takes a step outside of the shadows. And he's holding his giant axe and he's like, I fucking told you shouldn't be messing with me. Let me tell you something, buddy. If you want to mess with me. And in the middle of his speech, the guy just fucking bolts. And Xander's like, oh, come on. I wasn't even finished my cool guy action hero speech. And he starts chasing him. Oh, man. And then we get this little tiny scene of Buffy just being launched from the library and running back in. She's like, we need to do something. She runs back in.
Yeah, because all the tentacle things are coming out of that door or whatever, right? It's just chaos.
Yeah. And so she runs back in, and then Xander runs kind of like right behind where she is. He doesn't see her get launched or tossed or whatever. She runs back in the library, and he runs, and now he is being chased by a zombie and two members of the Sisterhood of Jai.
Yeah, because he chases them around the corner and you don't see it, and then they come back around the corner and it's like two of them being chased.
Yeah, it's very Scooby-Doo.
It's really Scooby. Yeah, very Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
So now they're running and Xander hides. He runs around this corner and he's hiding. And the zombie and the Sisterhood ladies run into what looks like the nurse's office to me, or some kind
classroom or something. I wasn't really paying attention.
Some kind of office.
Where they went to. Yeah.
And then they run in and then they start screaming and scraping at the window.
No, the bad guy, the zombie scraping at the window. He's being killed by the demons.
Oh, the zombie's being killed by the Sisterhood of J people?
Yeah.
Okay, I was so confused.
Xander and them are running. Xander and the zombie guy are running from the two J people.
Okay, I thought that they were like a team against Xander.
No.
Okay,
no,
I was like...
J Bros are not a team.
So they ran in and like the zombie guy's getting killed. I thought all three of them, and I was like, what the hell was in there?
No.
Okay.
He ran in there and they got him and they pinned him against the wall. He's like doing that classic hand dragging down the wall horror, I'm being murdered thing.
That makes so much more sense. All right. Thank you for clarifying that. So Xander's just like standing up against the wall, watching all this happen. He's like, whew, I can get a breath. Like, this has been fucking insane. And right next to him, one of the apocalypse tentacle demons bursts through the wall and looks at him. And he's like, what the fuck? He starts running.
No, that just burst through. I don't understand how the school is operational next day.
Right, dude?
How did they patch up that wall? Who got that body from underneath the vending machine?
Right.
Like, the library has to be destroyed.
The library is demolished, dude. Like, whatever. So now Xander runs and he runs to the boiler room where he knows the bomb is.
Yeah.
So he goes there. He uses the axe to bust the door down. Runs down and he sees the bomb. He's like, looks at the timer. There's less than 2 minutes. He's like, all right, less than 2 minutes to figure out how to defuse a bomb. You got this, Xander. And right as he says that, Jack O'Toole attacks him from behind. And Xander is getting his ass kicked. O'Toole pulls out his gigantic knife again. He's got it up to his neck and he's like, I'll fucking kill you. They're tussling. And then Xander stands up. They get some separation between them. And Xander stands up. And O'Toole is standing up. And he's looking at the exit. And then Xander's looking at the exit. And O'Toole tries to make a move towards the exit. And Xander like takes a step to get into his way. And then O'Toole's kind of freaking out. And Xander says something like, I see what you're thinking right now. Do I have enough time to make it to the exit and get out of the school before this bomb goes off? And let me tell you, it's not looking good for you right now, man. Because I will stop you. And we will both get blown up. And O'Toole's like, yeah, man. We both will get blown up. You will die. I'm already dead. Like, this ain't a big deal. And Xander's like, all right, well, let's just see who has the less fear, which is a nice callback to his earlier thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. And then so they're standing in a Mexican standoff.
Well, the biggest thing that Xander says is like, this is real death. This isn't.
Yeah, he's like, this.
You're going to come back from. This is pieces all over the place. This is final.
Yeah, he's like, this isn't you coming back from the dead, drinking with your buddies. This is you getting blown up. And I don't think you're ready for that. And O'Toole's like, and do you think you are? And this is my favorite line, but it's so creepy and weird. But Xander just kind of shrugs his shoulder and goes, I like the quiet. And the bomb is ticking down. It's like 10, 9, and they're just looking at each other.
Well, it's I like the quiet, and then it cuts to the fighting in the library.
Yeah.
It's super loud.
Yeah.
So it's really like it's a cool line, but it's also one of those setup transition lines.
Yeah. And now the bomb is going down. 10, 9, 8, and they're just like looking at each other. O'Toole keeps darting his eyes towards the exit. And then it gets to 2, 1, and O'Toole just pulls a single cord out. And then he takes like a sigh of relief. Xander walks up behind him and he whispers in his ear, good boy. I don't want to see you around campus anymore, okay? And he just walks off in the most badass fucking thing ever.
I was so pissed at Xander right here.
Why?
O'Toole is not a person you leave alive.
Okay, true.
I'm sorry. I was just like, yeah, I'm sure he's never going to come and attack you again because he's pretty stable.
Yeah.
Like, no.
So Xander exits the boiler room and O'Toole's left there alone. And he goes, oh, you'll be seeing me again, buddy. You'll be seeing me real soon. The next time you turn your back. And as he's saying this, he's walking towards another exit. He opens that door. And out of that exit, Werewolf Oz shows up, leaps at O'Toole, and just eats the fuck out of him. He's just... O'Toole's like, oh my God!
It's crazy because there's definitely not 2 exits in that one room.
Right?
So he definitely just opened a closet door like an idiot.
Yeah.
And I guess they just left him in an unlocked room.
Yeah.
They took Oz and put him in an unlocked door downstairs.
So now it's the next day at school. Oz, Giles, Willow, and Buffy are sitting at a picnic table. Students all around. Buffy...
Bodies have been cleaned up somehow.
Yep, students all around. Sunny day. Buffy's in a sling, has a bunch of bruises all over her face. Willow has a bunch of bruises all over her face. Giles has bruises and cuts and scrapes all over his face. And they're all just sitting there like, last night was fucking crazy. That was insane. We saved the world. And Willow is like, you know what the craziest part is? No one will ever know what we did. No one could possibly understand the sacrifices we've made, the insane fight we went through last night, everything that happened, no one will ever know that this happened, which is a nice thing of like, no one will know what happened with them. No, those four will never know what happened with Xander. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, man, what a crazy night. What
wasn't there lines? Wasn't there lines in there like, Giles, that was the bravest thing you've ever done?
Yeah, that was the bravest thing I've ever seen.
And then there's something about Angel sacrificing himself.
Yeah, Angel is in worse shape than them. They mentioned that, you know, they got it pretty bad, but Angel got it the worst. So he's like out of commission for a hot second.
Okay. I didn't know if he like died and went in the portal because it closed. I wasn't sure. I forgot exactly what they said.
Yeah, it was something like that. You're right. But then Buffy says to Giles, like, and Giles, that was the bravest thing. What you did, that was the bravest thing I've ever seen. And Giles kind of like turns his head to reveal like even more gashes on his face. He's like, thank you. Or it might be the stupidest thing I've ever done. And then Xander comes walking up. And Xander's happy-go-lucky, like, hey, what's up? What happened, guys? And Willow goes, Xander, you better be thankful that you weren't at school last night. What happened here was absolutely crazy. What did you get up to? And Xander is like, I didn't do too much, you know? Glad I wasn't at school either because, you know, I like the quiet life. And they're like, cool. And he's like, cool. Does anybody need anything? Anybody want anything? Anybody want a snack? And they're like, he goes,
jellies.
No, hold on. He goes,
jellies.
Hold on. He goes, anybody want a snack? Giles? Giles shakes his head and he goes, Oz? And Oz goes, no, I'm weirdly full right now. Because he was eating like, Jack O'Toole. Loved that little subtle.
I knew it was coming once he asked about the food, and when it was one of those ones where you could just see it.
Yeah, but I like
it. Was so telegraphed. I don't know.
It didn't.
I wish Giles went crazy about jelly donuts. That would have made it for me.
So then Xander's like, all right, I'm gonna head off. I'll talk to y'all later. Starts walking away, and Cordelia walks up, and she's like, have another night of you being worthless and expendable to the group? Well, wow, they did all of the world saving and you just got the donuts? And Xander just looks at her and he starts laughing. He just has a little smirk and he's like, he doesn't say this, but in his facial expression is like, you have no idea the crazy shit that I get. But he just walks away from her smirking. Mm-hmm. And Cordelia's left there like, what? What am I missing? What happened?
And it's a little bit of a callback to her first scene with him where she turned away and walked towards the camera, pretty much in the same direction. It's like, oh, that felt good.
Yep.
You know, she says that to herself and she like shits all over him. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what they said about Angel in that last one because Angel mentioned having to sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if he was still around or if he actually did.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They do say something about Angel, like how he got it the worst out of all of them, but I don't know if it was sacrifice himself or what.
Is he gone? I don't know. That's why I was like, I think they might have written a character on the thing. Like, I don't know. It was like, yeah, I'm not sure. But let us know on Discord.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we'll get it.
And
get some info there.
That's the end of the episode, everybody. That is the Zeppo. You got any final thoughts on this one there, Vance?
I enjoy this episode more just having talked about it. Like going into it is so weird and so different. And I completely get the juxtaposition of end of the world. Hey, these zombie dudes are trying to blow up the school. It's so low rent for Xander.
Yeah.
Like low stakes. I mean, he's going to blow up an empty school, maybe. I don't know. Like, it was just weird that, like, now all the end of the world stuff seems like less.
It's background noise.
Yeah. But it's really funny in the episode.
Yeah.
And did not see Xander and Faith hooking up happening at all.
No, that just happened. I feel like that's got to come up and people are going to be pissed in future episodes.
Like, yeah, it has to do something future-wise, but like, what?
Yeah. That was a big moment that just kind of happened.
Yeah. I really thought he would have slept with Cordelia after all the time they spent together.
Nope.
And she had said she loved him like a bunch.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's a virgin. Maybe she is.
Maybe it's more like she's like doing everything but with people. I don't know. But yeah, we got the big...
Let's ask her.
Yeah. Hey, Cordelia? Hey, Charisma? But yeah, we get the big virginity loss for Xander here. And with a smoke show. Good for him, Faith. And she seems to know her way around. You know what I'm saying?
I think anything would have been fine for Xander.
Oh,
yeah. I did love that she kicked him out and stayed true to her like character.
Yeah. Of like, men are trash. Yeah. We got to use them and dispose them.
She gets horny when she's slaying.
Yeah.
I could see future episodes was just him being around her when she's slaying people. Just so he can like, so he's like, yeah, you just finished slaying someone. You want to hook up?
Or like actively getting in the way of her killing them.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
yeah, like push it out of the way.
Didn't kill him, huh? You feel like you're about to pop again? Man. So that is the Zeppo, everybody. Thanks for listening to our review of that one. Next episode, Vance, is titled Bad Girls.
We just had like the Sisterhood of J.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Bad Girls will have to be... I think let's just do a Willow, Cordelia, Buffy, Faith, like girls' night out going wrong.
Yeah, maybe they're having like some kind of sleepover and then demonic shenanigans happen.
Yeah, I saw this still and we get a little bit of, I think, the mayor and Mr. Trick.
Oh, Mr. Trick. Haven't seen him for a while. I like Mr. Trick.
Yeah, we're in the back half of the season, so we got to start getting his plot line and the mayor's plot line going.
Stuff's got to start ramping up now. Like I liked all these one-off episodes, but now we got to start getting plot. You know,
yeah. We got to start making the end of the world scenario feel real.
Yeah, I know. Not just like background noise for Xander's zaniness.
And they introduce like faith gods, things,
spirit guides
that know the future.
Yeah.
Like what?
Wild.
The Watchers still suck. I will say that. The Watcher Council sucks.
Do you think we're going to get Buffy's new Watcher in the next episode, do you think? Is it a woman? Is she a bad girl?
That would be too much. I don't think you can have another female Watcher be a bad person.
Yeah. Who knows?
It'll be a guy. It'll be some cool guy.
Some old British guy.
I hope it's like a young British dude that's like really...
Dude, that's what... I think we talked about this after we were done recording, but... I would like it if it was like a young, hot guy in Faith and Cordelia and all of them are like, I want him to be my watcher. He can watch me any day, you know?
Yeah.
And Giles is like, well, come on, guys. Giles feels left out. He's like, no, he's not that great.
And then there's like a new Jenny Calendar type character that just likes him and not Giles.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's our predictions for Bad Girls. Who knows what's going to happen? Thanks for listening. Again, please do the rate and review on Apple, subscribe and all that shit, and Spotify if you want to.
All that shit,
you know. Join the Discord. The link is in the show notes. You can follow the Instagram at Boys Watching Buffy. You can write in boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. And of course, as we said at the beginning of the episode, join the Patreon. It's very... low stakes. This is just a support tier at the moment, but we have plans on doing some extra stuff. It's patreon.com/Boys Watching Buffy. We'll have that link in the show notes, right, Vance?
Yep.
So yeah, all those links are in there. And yeah, thanks again for listening, and stay tuned next week for when we talk about Bad Girls.
Hey, they're not baking any cake.
2 Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.